Hi, I'm Marna, and this is the Dolls Rescue Channel. I wanted to remind you about a challenge that we have put out on our channel for May the 4th, and that's a Star Wars channel. May the 4th, May the Force. Anyway, the challenge is for anyone that wants to upload a video on your own channel that has Star Wars, anything Star Wars, and put the hashtag Dolls Rescued Star Wars Challenge with the hashtag on your video. And then if you want to, come back and even put a link, if you are a subscriber, into our comments so that everybody can find your Star Wars video and go watch it too. Now, why is my little doll here? Because I'm sure some of you with dolls are thinking, what on earth would I do to make it Star Wars? I don't have any Star Wars print fabric. Well, here's what you can do. Okay, there are a lot of Star Wars print fabric on the shelves. I will warn you right now, while they are very cute, they are also pretty pricey because the fabric places have to pay the Star Wars people for using it. So there's other things you can do. Just because it's a Star Wars challenge doesn't mean it can't just be space. I got this fabric really cheap. That's why I bought it, because it's actually flannel. And I think I got it for like $1.49 a yard. And this one was a little bit more than that, but I've got a lot I want to do with that. I bought this at Walmart, and I did her little practice dress with that. I think it's cute. I like that. It's just plain, but it has enough of a pop. And it's got the stars and kind of the Milky Way layout to it, how it swooshes around. But today we're going to use this fabric because I want to show you how I made the pattern and this little dress for this little 6.5-inch fully articulated dolls. I really like these dolls. I had bought some American Girls, the little American Girls, the miniature, and I found clothing on eBay for the, I think it said 6.5-inch fully articulated dolls, and I wondered if the clothes would fit. So I bought the clothes, and then I got curious about the dolls, and I bought this one. And then I was gifted one by Jamie from Let's Talk About It with Jamie, and now I just love these little girls. I mean, they are fully, well, I can't even move it now, fully articulated ankle. They have a ball jointed ankle, but their hip is not ball jointed. Kind of, but not really. Their shoulders are, they have wrist movement, and they're just cute, 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 cute. And they have the innocent look. They now have some with other expressions. Anyway, we're going to make her a dress. I've made quite a few outfits out of this. I think it's really cute for Blythe. I'm going to show you later how to make this particular dress, and Darren just 3D printed. I've got a frog in my throat this morning. This Millennium Falcon to do something else with, but it was a smaller size. But how cute is that? Kind of offset it as a button on the front of that dress. And I like this silver ribbon. I also got it at Walmart, the fabric and the ribbon. Okay, to make this little dress, this is what I did. I laid my doll down on top of a sheet of paper, and I drew around her with her arms out like this, marking the center, top and bottom, and I drew the full top out, if you can see that. And then I added for stitching, or to make the back side. And what I did was I cut one of these out, laid it here, and added a little bit of space here for your finishing. Turning that over and adding, you won't be able to see that Velcro, I don't think, but adding a little piece of Velcro. You need a little extra space in the back. So then I tilted it, made the arm sleeve. Now when I cut this out, I will fold that under, and this, the front middle goes on the fold. I don't know if there's enough fabric here for this or not. Let me look at it. And don't throw away, I had two of, here it is. This was a dress, as you can see, from someone else that was cut like this. And I saved these because you could use that, make a seam, cut this down, and use that for a full skirt. This piece for the skirt is 1.5 inch by 7 for this size doll. So that, look at that. I mean, that would work, but I cut a piece. Anyway, we are going to show you how to cut this out and then the next step. I think this might work. It's just a tad off. Actually, I could get away with that, and I think I'm going to. So what I want to do to save the most fabric is, when you have fabric, you don't take a piece like this, fold it in half, and then cut a chunk out of the middle. Slide your fabric down as far as you can go and use it. And then when you're finished, you still have a nice long piece rather than two pieces of fabric you cannot use. So what you want to do is work your fabric, pull this down even, work your fabric over until you are using the smallest amount that still fits. Okay, that's a little bit more off than I want, so I'm going to slide that down. That I can get away with. And what I'm going to do, I could actually pull that over a little bit more. I like to save fabric. There's just, it's getting more and more expensive every day. See how I have that all the way to the edge? And I'm going to pin that down, cut it out, and then I'm going to take fray check for this particular size doll rather than lining this. And I'm going to take the fray check and put that all the way around the top piece. The skirt part I am not. I'm going to go ahead and finish the edge, rolling this over twice and then making a seam down there. Now if I were adding, and I went and looked for it and couldn't find it, I have some tiny rickrack, and I was going to put a pop across here. That's when I would do it. When I put my hem in, I would add that rickrack, and then you take a seam across here of large stitches so that you can gather that up. I'll show you that in a minute. Okay, I finished my edge at the bottom, and I put in a stitch close to the top with the biggest stitches you have, the widest stitches you have on your sewing machine, leaving the threads hang. And what we're going to do, you've seen me do this before if you visit my channel often, is we're going to grab one of the threads on each side and pull gently while you push the fabric to gather it, and then we'll set this aside until we get our top, which mine is drying here. Let that dry, and then we'll sew our front to our back. And once we do that, we'll know exactly what size to do this. But I wanted to show you, I pull from one side and then I pull from the other side to gather this up. And usually I take it down further than I know it needs to go, so I can try to make an even gathering all the way around my skirt. Of course, in the back, you will leave it ungathered where you will put your stitching in to complete the dress and turn over for the opening. Okay, so this is the top. I got lucky. A lot of times I line up my prints so that the front of the dress has a little something. I got lucky on that one. Let me remind you how this fits. These are the shoulders, that's the neck hole, and then what we're going to do is carry this over to the sewing machine. On either side, I'm going to make a seam up to the armhole on both sides, And then because I put the fray check around this, I do not have to turn this in. So that's all we'll do, and then we'll bring this over, line this up, deciding how big we want it. This is a skirt. We will sew it down. Actually, we will pin it. We will sew it down and then finish the back. To sew the skirt to your top, you turn your top upside down. Then you take your skirt approximately at the middle of the front of your skirt. You want to pin from the skirt side so that when you are sewing, you can pull your gathers so they're straight. And you just pin that here and see how long you need that. I need to go a little further out. So I'm taking some of this gathering out of the skirt, working it towards the string. And I don't want to take it out too far. And at the very end, you want that straight. You don't want it gathered because that's where you're going to sew your seam in the back of the skirt. Try to keep your gathers even all the way around. And you want to pin this in at least 3 places. Take that a little bit further out than the top of your dress. And pin it in the middle at the seam, keeping your gathers straight. See how I'm turning that under my finger? And as I sew, I will hold those and pull them towards the so that it's parallel with the top. And I still need to take that out just a little bit. See how it's just a little longer. And I will pin this down. I'll put a seam across just to the inside of this seam so that it won't be seen. It's not a big deal. And then we'll flip it up and sew it down. I'll show you that when we get there. Okay, it is at this point, after you get your seam in for the skirt, that you trim all of your thread off. You remove all of your pins. I'm going to show you how to double check this because sometimes, especially on the larger skirts, you can miss one that gets tucked in. And then what you do is just kind of fold. All right, there are 2 ways you can finish your skirt. If you want the skirt to stand out like a bell skirt, then what you want to do is take this seam here, fold it down towards the skirt, and sew that. If you want it to lay more flat, which is what I'm going to do so that it stays more flat, let me show you the bell out. When it's like that, it bells out. When it's sewn like this, it lays more flat. Flat is up towards the top. Belling is towards the skirt. I am going towards the top, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this and pull it as I go and put a seam right across here. You can see the seam across here for when I did the skirt, like I told you. And then I just simply sewed up the seam in my back, added Velcro, hard side away from the doll, and it's ready for her. All right, we'll get her dressed. If you wanted to, you could put a little bow on there or little silver chain with a charm or anything you wanted, but she is ready for the May 4th Star Wars Challenge. Thank you for watching the Dolls Rescue channel. We hope you'll leave a like, a comment, and subscribe.